Hey, what's up, guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun channel. I know I've been spending a lot of time doing the Canary Cry news talk and streaming it here on the Face Like the Sun channel, but that's because my time is extremely limited nowadays. I'm expecting a son this month, so thank you for all your prayers out there that the whole birth process and everything goes well. I appreciate all the support. But one of the reasons why I've been doing a lot more podcasting is because, number one, I'm able to cover a lot more and do so with a partner, which I know some of you guys think that he's like a crazy person, but I've been podcasting with Basil since 2012. Of course, this channel started in 2011, so he's been around for a long time. I know some of you guys don't like him or whatever, but he'll grow on you. Just give him a chance. But the other reason is because I'm starting some early preparations for Age of Deceit 4. And that means a lot of research, a lot of reading and looking up stuff and doing things that don't necessarily give me an opportunity to make a whole bunch of other videos, especially when we're doing 2-3 hour episodes of Canary Cry News Talk 3 times a week. So thank you guys for your patience. I do have a video that was made for the Hear the Watchman virtual conference that aired, I think, last weekend. I'll make that public in a couple weeks. It's called Fire from Heaven, Burning Down the Counterfeit Light. And I go through a whole bunch of scriptures on this presentation and talk about fire and the role of fire with God and with the afterlife or our eternal bodies and everything else. I think it's a good summary of some of the ideas that we've touched on over the years on this channel. So that will go public in a couple weeks on this channel. So look out for that. But I wanted to talk about this story that was published on mindmatters.ai. Researchers, the aliens exist, but they are sleeping. And I won't read the whole article here. We're going to cover some of it in Canary Cry News Talk. But essentially, there is this idea that the aliens can't be found because they're in hibernation. And as I was going through this article, something jumped out at me. And it's one of those issues that I've been talking about for years on this channel, and it's interesting to see top-level physicists and people looking for extraterrestrial civilizations and all that kind of stuff are now positing, which just proves my foundational thesis that all the aliens are demonic entities, or at least the types that they're looking for. So in this article, they basically cover what's called estivation hypothesis. And it says here, the aliens in this scenario are not dead, they are merely sleeping. Just as many life forms on Earth go into torpor during hot and dry conditions, they are awaiting cooler conditions before they emerge. And it goes into the Kardashev scale that we've talked about. But here's what I found very interesting. It says here, one suggested reason that the ETs might adopt such a strategy is that they have become digital beings anyway. Quote, indeed, an increasing number of futurists, astrobiologists, and SETI experts are starting to think that advanced intelligence eventually transitions into a digital mode of existence, living as digital beings within powerful supercomputers. Post-biological aliens or future post-humans will demand unhindered access to powerful and efficient means of information processing, a hypothetical mode of existence known as dataism. And this was said by George Dvorsky. Hibernating aliens could explain the great silence. And then, of course, they quote H.P. Lovecraft, the Dunwich Horror, and others. The old ones were, the old ones are, and the old ones shall be, not in the spaces we know, but between them. They walk serene and primal, undimensioned, and to us unseen. And of course, this reminds us of Gordy Rose and his talk about the D-Wave quantum computer, where he talked about this idea that they're summoning these entities. So I find it interesting that the scientists, the cutting-edge physicists, they're all basically stumped. Why aren't there aliens out there? Well, maybe there's not even an out there, so to speak. But even more, they're starting to push this idea that they might have gone digital or that they're asleep somehow in some kind of different state. And I know I've shared this quote several times, but it's just such a good quote. It's so applicable to what we're seeing here. But it's a quote by Robert Jastrow. He said, "For the scientist who has lived by his faith in the power of reason, The story ends like a bad dream. He has scaled the mountains of ignorance. He is about to conquer the highest peak. As he pulls himself over the final rock, he is greeted by a band of theologians who have been sitting there for centuries. And this is something that I think is taking place right now, as I've stated before. And the fact that they're starting to have this concept that maybe aliens are digital beings now and they're sleeping. Well, that's what a lot of theologians have been suggesting with demonic entities or fallen entities. And if you go to 2 Peter 2:4, where it says, "For if God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until judgment." And the parallel passage, Jude 1:6, "And the angels who did not stay within their own position of authority, but left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day." It's as if these entities are being held down in darkness, in hell, as some translations have it. But that word darkness is deep gloom. Strong's 2217 Zophos, which means darkness, murkiness, gloom. And figuratively, it means apocalyptic, gloomy darkness associated with the netherworld. And again, if they're being held until judgment, it means that they might be released at some point. And of course, the sixth trumpet in Revelation 9:14 talks about the sixth angel who had a trumpet and said, "Release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." And in verse 15, so the 4 angels who had been prepared for the hour, the day, the month, and the year were released to kill a third of mankind. And so we have all of these aspects of end times biblical prophecy that point to some kind of angelic entity that are being kept in chains of darkness, that are going to be released during judgment. And it's just fascinating to me that it all makes sense in these fringe ideas being pushed by physicists and people that are looking for extraterrestrials, playing with the idea of the Estevian hypothesis that the aliens are asleep and they're waiting for them to wake up when the universe conditions are just right. Again, it just proves to me that the Bible has explained this stuff well before these scientists have ever even considered the possibility. And furthermore, the idea that computing at very powerful levels are going to manifest some type of aliens to awaken, especially in their post-biological form, well, again, that plays back right into a huge biblical narrative about the Nephilim and the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim being the New Testament demons. And if we look at AI and why guys like Elon Musk are trying to create the Neuralink, which, by the way, we covered the entire thing on Canary Cry News Talk live as it happened. And of course, they bring out the pigs, just like in Matthew chapter 8, where Jesus allows demons to enter the herd of pigs. Just very fascinating how our world today has so many things that are parallel to the scriptures, where most folks, especially in the church, are just not paying attention. But that's why I'm going to keep pressing forward here, even though this channel's been highly suppressed. And while they haven't deleted it outright, they are definitely capping it and not allowing it to grow and reach people, even to the subscribers. I mean, I'm looking at the most recent videos, even the solo ones like this, and I mean, they're not even reaching 5% of subscribers, which is pretty ridiculous, YouTube. But what do you expect? We're on their turf when it comes to sharing this type of information. And that's why on Canary Cry Radio, we completely moved to a value for value model, which means anytime you decide to support what we do, you become producers of the show. And it's a great way to exchange value for value out there. If you get something out of these videos, out of the podcasts, put value back in, because all the content will always be free. Even the ones that are behind paywalls, like the Hear the Watchman presentation, at least for me, I'm going to make it public and allow you guys to check it out because it's worth it. And again, Fire from Heaven, I'll publish that and make it public in a few weeks here. It's already published for patrons of Face Like the Sun, so if you're in there, take a look at it. I think about 80 people have already checked it out, so definitely do so. Share it with friends and family. But I got to get ready for a news talk episode, so thank you guys for checking out this video. Have an awesome day. God bless.